Hey everyone, today we're counting down 15 surprising facts about famous monuments. These iconic structures hold secrets and mysteries that not many people know about. Let's start with number 15, the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial, located at the western end of the National Mall in Washington, D.C., was dedicated in 1922. Designed by architect Henry Bacon, it draws inspiration from the Parthenon in Athens. The memorial is famous for its imposing statue of Abraham Lincoln, which stands 19 feet or 5.8 meters tall and is carved from Georgia marble. Originally, it was intended to be smaller. The statue's size was increased to match the grandeur of the space that it occupies. And interestingly, Lincoln's hands are sculpted to form the letters A and L in American Sign Language, a tribute to his signing for a federal charter for a university which specializes in education for the deaf and hard of hearing. Inside, the memorial houses inscriptions of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and his second inaugural address on its north and south walls, respectively. The exterior is surrounded by 36 Doric columns, representing the number of states in the Union in 1865. Above those columns, a mural lists the names of all 50 states along with the dates they joined the Union, a feature added in 1924. The material used in the construction, including granite from Massachusetts, marble from Colorado, and limestone from Indiana, were selected to symbolize national unity. Beneath the memorial lies a lesser-known room, the Undercroft, which is accessed through a hidden door. In the 1970s and 80s, it was opened for tours, but they were discontinued due to safety concerns. A renovation project is currently underway with the hope of reopening that space by 2026. Number 14, Trevi Fountain. The Trevi Fountain in Rome is one of the most famous fountains in the world. Located in the Trevi district, it was designed by architect Nicola Salvi in the Baroque style and completed by Giuseppe Panini in 1762. The fountain marks the end of the Aqua Virgo, an ancient Roman aqueduct that's been supplying water to Rome for over 2,000 years. Its name, Trevi, derives from the Latin trivium, indicating the junction of three streets. At the center of the fountain is the figure of Oceanus, the god of all water, depicting riding a shell-shaped chariot pulled by two seahorses, one calm and the other unruly, symbolizing the sea's varying moods. Flanking Oceanus are the statues of abundance and health, each holding symbols of their domains, framed by a grand archway reminiscent of a triumphal arch. Above the main figures, intricately carved sculptures recounts the origins of Aqua Virgo. One panel depicts a young virgin directing Roman soldiers to the water source, a legend explaining the aqueduct's name. Another shows Agrippa, the Roman general who commissioned the aqueduct. The Trevi Fountain is also known for its cultural traditions, most notably coin-throwing rituals. Legend says that if a visitor throws a coin over their left shoulder into the fountain, they're guaranteed a return to Rome. This practice is not only a fun tourist activity, but also a significant fundraiser. Collecting about $4,000 a day, these funds are used to support Rome's less fortunate residents. Number 13, the Monas Monument. The Monas Monument, officially known as the Monument Nasional, stands proudly in the center of Jakarta in Indonesia. Standing at 433 feet or 132 meters tall, it symbolizes Indonesian independence and serves as a beacon of national pride. Initiated by President Sukarno, the monument commemorates Indonesia's fight for freedom from Dutch colonial rule. Construction began in 1961 and concluded in 1975, featuring a design rich in symbolism. The design was a collaborative effort between architect Friedrich Seleban and sculptor Edi Sonarso. It blends traditional Indonesian architectural elements with modernist influences, creating a distinctive structure visible throughout the city. The monument's obelisk shape reflects the duality of nature and the balance of the universe, key aspects of Indonesian culture and spirituality. The flame-shaped top, adorned with 50 kilograms or 110 pounds of gold, symbolize the spirit of freedom and the nation's enduring flame of independence. Located in Merdeka Square, a verdant oasis amid the bustling city, the base of Monas houses a museum dedicated to Indonesia's independence movement. Now, this museum displays images and exhibits that highlight significant events and figures in the struggle against colonialism. The monument also features an elevator that takes visitors to observation decks at the top, offering panoramic views of Jakarta. From here, landmarks like the Presidential Palace are visible, making Monas a favored spot for both tourists and locals. Number 12, the Palace of Versailles. The Palace of Versailles, located about 12.5 miles southwest of Paris, it epitomizes the lavishness of the French monarchy. Originally constructed as a hunting lodge by Louis XIII in 1623, it was expanded into a magnificent palace by his son Louis XIV, or the Sun King, who in 1682 relocated the French court and government there. This transformation was guided by leading architects and artists of the era, making Versailles a quintessential example of French Baroque architecture with its balanced symmetry and intricate decorations. Among its most celebrated features is the Hall of Mirrors, a grand corridor of over 230 feet long, adorned with 357 mirrors that brilliantly reflect the sunlight through its expansive arched windows. The surrounding gardens of Versailles span roughly 2,000 acres. Crafted by a landscape architect, these gardens are an example of the heights of landscape design, featuring perfectly sculpted lawns, vibrant flower beds, elaborate fountains, and detailed statues. The Grand Canal, a focal point for royal boating and leisure activities, bisects the garden, which also houses the Petit Trianon and the Grand Trianon, secluded retreats for the royal family. Inside, the palace has over 2,300 rooms, each richly appointed with tapestries, gilded moldings, and sumptuous furnishings. The King and Queen's grand apartments stand out with their ceilings depicting classical myths and opulent state beds. Interestingly, despite its many rooms, the palace lacks a single bathroom, leaving residents and guests to seek privacy in the expansive gardens, a fact that humorously explains their vast size. Number 11. The Great Pyramid of Cholula. If you were asked to name the largest pyramid in the world, you might think of Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza due to the height. However, the record for the largest pyramid by volume actually belongs to the Great Pyramid of Cholula, also known as Tlachihuatlepetl, located in Cholula, Puebla, Mexico. Though it is not as tall as the pyramids in Egypt, it is significantly wider. Constructed from adobe bricks, the pyramid has become largely obscured by the vegetation over centuries, causing it to resemble a natural hill more than a man-made structure. Its construction began about 2,300 years ago in the pre-classical period, and it continued through various stages until the 9th century AD. With each successive civilization in the region adding to and modifying the existing structure, contributing to its immense size. The base of the pyramid spans roughly 1,500 by 1,500 feet, or about 450 by 450 meters, and it stands as a height of about 217 feet or 66 meters, covering an area of 55 acres. The pyramid features layered construction with 6 superimposed structures, each built atop the one before, which is a typical practice in Mesoamerican architecture. This has resulted in a complex internal labyrinth of tunnels and passageways, some of which have been explored and open to the public. Atop the pyramid today sits the Church of Our Lady of Remedies, erected by Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. The conquistadors built the church as a demonstration of religious supremacy after discovering the pyramid, aiming to replace the indigenous sacred site with a Christian one. The church with its golden domes are set against a scenic backdrop. They stand as an iconic yet historically contentious symbol of Cholula. Number 10. Big Ben. Big Ben, it's one of London's most iconic landmarks. It's located at the north end of the Palace of Westminster. While commonly referred to as Big Ben, this name actually pertains to the bell inside the tower, which is officially called the Elizabeth Tower. Completed in 1859, this Gothic revival structure stands at 316 feet, or 96 meters, and it exemplifies Victorian architecture and engineering prowess. The tower, designed by Augustus Pugin in a neo-Gothic style, is part of Charles Barry's design for the new Palace of Westminster, which was rebuilt following a fire in 1834. The clock tower within, a marvel of precision engineering, was created by clockmaker Edward John Dent and later completed by his stepson Frederick Dent. Known for its accuracy, the clock's pendulum can be fine-tuned by adding or removing old British pennies, which adjust its center of mass and alter the clock's timing. Each of the clock faces measures about 23 feet or 7 meters in diameter, with minute hands that are 14 feet or 4.3 meters long and are made from cast iron to be illuminated for visibility at all times. Interestingly, the tower also houses a lesser-known feature, a prison room lined with oak panels. This room, only accessible from the Palace of Westminster, was last used in 1880 to detain a member of Parliament who refused to swear an oath of allegiance to Queen Victoria. Today, it serves as a storage for a governmental committee, adding a unique layer to one of the world's most famous clocks. Number 9. The Easter Island Heads. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, holds a place among the world's most mysterious locations, largely due to the nearly 1,000 statues scattered across its landscape. This remote island in the southeastern Pacific is a Chilean territory, and it's famed for its moai statues, carved by the Rapa Nui people between 1400 and 1650 AD. Crafted from volcanic tuff, a relatively soft stone, these monolithic human figures made sculpting more manageable for the islanders. The statues vary in height, with the tallest reaching about 33 feet or 10 meters and weighing up to 82 tons. The moai are predominantly recognized for their oversized hands featuring prominent brows, long noses, and distinctive chins. Interestingly, while these heads are the most iconic part of the statues, researchers have found that many moai have full bodies, which were traditionally buried up to their necks in the sand. The exact methods used to create and position these statues does remain a mystery, especially given their size and the distances they were moved from the main quarry, where 95% of them were carved. They were eventually placed on stone platforms called ahu, but how this was achieved, considering their immense weight, continues to puzzle historians and archaeologists. While their precise purpose is still debated, the prevailing theory is that the moai represent ancestors or significant figures in Rapa Nui society, possibly serving to oversee and protect the inhabitants by facing inland with their backs to the sea. Some theories suggest that the statues were central to a complex religious and societal system that unified the island's communities and showcased the power of the leaders who commissioned them. However, the creation of the moai may have inadvertently led to the downfall of Rapa Nui society. The extensive deforestation required to move the statues, among other activities, likely triggered an ecological catastrophe, rendering the island incapable of supporting its population and leading to its eventual decline. Number 8. The Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China, an iconic symbol of Chinese engineering and architectural prowess, stretches over 13,000 miles, nearly 21,000 kilometers, across northern China. This monumental structure was not constructed in a single effort, but it was built in various segments over several dynasties, primarily to protect Chinese states and empires from the northern invasions and raids. Construction began as early as the 7th century BC, but the most famous sections were erected during the Ming Dynasty, more than 2,000 years later. The wall is not a continuous structure, but rather a series of walls and fortifications, some of which are parallel to each other. It strategically incorporates natural landscapes such as mountains and rivers, and it's constructed from diverse materials like earth, wood, bricks, and stone. The materials were chosen based on the regional availability and the construction period of each segment. The sections near Beijing, for example, are known for their preservation and are primarily made of brick and stone, showcasing their advanced engineering techniques. And traditional Chinese construction method include the use of sticky rice. Earlier sections utilized a mortar made from sticky rice soup mixed with slake lime. And during the Ming era, sticky rice helped reinforce brick strength to better withstand earthquakes and attacks. While it is primarily a defensive barrier, the Great Wall was not always successful in preventing invasions. However, it significantly influenced China's economy by safeguarding the Silk Road, thus facilitating trade and travel. This protection allowed for the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural practices across huge distances, cementing the wall's role in our global history. Moving on to number 7, the Washington Monument. Standing prominently on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., the Washington Monument serves as one of the most iconic backdrops on the planet. Dedicated to George Washington, America's first president, the monument soars to a height of 555 feet, or 169 meters, and symbolizes the ideals of freedom and democracy. Construction began in 1848 and concluded in 1884. The monument was designed by architect Robert Mills, and its obelisk shape reflects the neoclassical architectural preference of the era. The cornerstone was laid on July 4, 1848, during a ceremony attended by thousands, including Presidents James K. Polk and Congressman Abraham Lincoln. The project did face numerous challenges, including financial difficulties and the Civil War, which significantly delayed progress. The original plan included an elaborate base, but due to budget constraints, the design was simplified. The lower section of the monument, constructed from marble, granite, and sandstone, exhibits a noticeable change in color about 1/3 of the way up, where construction was paused for nearly 2 decades. During this hiatus, some Civil War-era graffiti was added to its surface. After the Civil War, the effort to complete the monument resumed under the leadership of the Army Corps of Engineers, directed by Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Lincoln Casey. The completion of the monument was marked by the placement of a 9-inch aluminum pyramid capstone on December 6, 1884. At that time, aluminum was considered a precious metal, chosen to represent the nation's technological advancement. Remarkably, the structure was assembled without any mortar, relying solely on friction and gravity to maintain its integrity. Number 6. The Sydney Opera House. The Sydney Opera House stands as Australia's most iconic structure, perched on Bennelong Point in Sydney Harbour. It's known for its distinctive sail-like design. This concept originated in the late 1940s when the New South Wales government recognized the need for a dedicated venue for large-scale theatrical productions. In 1956, an international design competition was launched, drawing 233 entries from 32 countries. It was Danish architect Jorn Utzon's innovative design, inspired by the image of sails billowing in the wind, that ultimately won. Construction started in 1959 but was marred by significant challenges, especially with the complex roof design. Utzon envisioned precast concrete shells, each a segment of a sphere, to create the structure's unique curved appearance. However, engineering and construction issues led to substantial delays and budget overruns, ballooning the initial 4-year and $7 million project into a 14-year endeavor costing $102 million. The interior, redesigned by Australian architects Peter Hall, Lionel Todd, and David Littlemore after Utzon's departure, included a series of interlocking theaters and halls suited to various performing art genres. The largest, the concert hall, seats over 2,600 people and is celebrated for its exceptional acoustics. Other key spaces include the Joan Sutherland Theatre, the Drama Theatre, the Playhouse, and the Utzon Room, named after the original architect. Today, the Opera House hosts around 1,500 performances each year. It officially opened on October 20, 1973 by Queen Elizabeth II. The inaugural performance inside was Beethoven's Symphony No. 9. Interestingly, the first actual performance at the Opera House took place in 1960, when the American singer Paul Robeson sang Old Man River to construction workers during their lunch break, well before the building was completed. Number 5. The Forbidden City. The Forbidden City, located in the heart of Beijing in China, is an immense palace complex that served as the imperial residence for the Ming and Qing dynasties from 1420 to 1912. Spanning 180 acres, it is the largest palace complex still in existence today and was the center of power for over 5 centuries. Construction started in 1406, commissioned by the Yongle Empire of the Ming dynasty, and completed in 1420. The architecture of the Forbidden City adheres to traditional Chinese principles, enclosed by a 26-foot or an 8-meter high wall and a 170-foot or 52-meter wide moat. This complex consists of approximately 980 buildings with over 8,700 rooms, divided into an inner and outer court. The outer court was the setting for ceremonial events and included the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the Hall of Central Harmony, and the Hall of Preserving Harmony. These structures hosted significant state functions such as imperial banquets and coronations. The Hall of Supreme Harmony, the largest within the complex, contains the imperial throne room and where the emperor conducted state affairs and met dignitaries. The inner court was the private residence of the emperor and his family, and it functioned as the administrative center of the empire. Key structures within this court include the Palace of Heavenly Purity, the Hall of Union, and the Palace of Earthly Tranquility, which housed the living quarters of the emperor and empress. This secluded area was restricted to only the emperor, his consorts, and a select group of eunuchs and officials. Since 1925, though, the following abdication of the last emperor, the Forbidden City has opened as the Palace Museum, opening to the public and offering insights into China's imperial history. Since its completion, the Forbidden City has survived over 200 significant earthquakes with minimal damage, showcasing the enduring strength and sophistication of ancient Chinese architecture and engineering. Number 4. The Sphinx. Ancient Egypt, it remains a pinnacle of early human civilization, rich in mysteries that continue to captivate. The Sphinx, standing majestically on the Giza Plateau near Cairo by the Nile River, epitomizes those enigmas. The limestone statue, which emerges the body of a lion with the head of a human, spans about 240 feet or about 73 meters. And it rises to a height of about 66 feet or 20 meters, making it one of the oldest and most iconic sculptures on Earth. Believed to have been constructed around 4,500 years ago during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, the Sphinx is thought to portray Khafre himself. It sits near his pyramid within the Giza Pyramid Complex, suggesting a symbolic linkage between the pharaoh's eternal resting place and this monumental guardian. The purpose and symbolism of the Sphinx have long been debated. In Egyptian mythology, the lion symbolizes strength and protection. The human-headed lion therefore likely represents the pharaoh's divine power and protective authority, serving as the guardian of the Giza necropolis against any malevolent forces. One intriguing aspect of the Sphinx is its expression, often described as the Sphinx smile. This subtle grin adds layers of mystery, projecting a serene yet inscrutable presence. While most depictions and photographs focus on its face and its head, the Sphinx also features a tail that curls around its back, a detail that is seldom seen or even mentioned. Over millennia, the Sphinx has endured significant wear and tear from both natural erosion and human activities. Notably, the statue's nose is missing, believed to have been broken off by vandals, while the beard has also detached, fragments of which are now housed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo and the British Museum in London. These damages contribute to the Sphinx's mystique, and it embodies the enduring legacy and the continuing enigma of ancient Egypt's grandeur. Number 3. The Petronas Towers. The Petronas Towers, standing prominently in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, are iconic twin skyscrapers that soar to a height of 1,483 feet or 451.9 meters. From 1998 to 2004, they held the title of the tallest buildings in the world, and they still remain the tallest twin towers to date. Construction began in 1992 and concluded in just 6 years, reflecting their ambition to position itself as a global economic powerhouse. Developed by the national oil company Petronas, the towers were designed to embody Malaysia's aspirations and cultural heritage, with architectural elements inspired by Islamic art, including their floor plan based on an 8-pointed star common in Islamic architecture. Each tower was constructed by different building consortia, a strategic decision that ensured their timely completion. The towers featured a structural design that combines a high-strength concrete core with a steel glass facade, providing both stability and a visually appealing exterior. This choice of materials was particularly suited to Malaysia's tropical climate and the high winds of the region, contributing to the tower's slender and elegant profile. One of the most distinctive features is the Sky Bridge, a double-decker bridge that links the two towers on the 41st and 42nd floors. Located 558 feet or 170 meters above the ground, this sky bridge serves not only as an architectural piece but also fulfills practical functions, such as providing an emergency exit route and facilitating the movement of people between the towers without the need to descend to the ground floor. The bridge, along with an observation deck on the 86th floor, offers visitors unparalleled views of Kuala Lumpur, making it a prime spot for both tourists and locals to appreciate the expansive cityscape. Number 2. The Tower of London. The Tower of London is one of England's most iconic and historically significant structures, standing on the banks of the River Thames for nearly 1,000 years. Initially built by William the Conqueror in the late 11th century following his victory at the Battle of Hastings, the tower was intended to consolidate his control over London. This formidable stone keep, known as the White Tower, was completed around 1078. It served not only as a royal residence but also as a potent symbol of Norman authority over the conquered English populace. Throughout the centuries, the Tower of London has undergone numerous expansions, evolving from a simple keep into a vast complex of buildings, surrounded by defensive walls and a moat. Successive monarchs added various structures, including the inner and outer wards, which housed residential quarters, chapels, and additional fortifications. The tower's history is steeped in its role as a notorious prison, confining famous figures such as Anne Boleyn, Sir Walter Raleigh, and the princes in the tower. It's been a focal point of treachery and high political drama. Additionally, since the 14th century, it's been the secure home of the British crown jewels, which continue to be used in coronation ceremonies today. A lesser-known aspect of the tower's history is its function as one of the world's oldest zoos. This began in 1235 when Henry III received 3 leopards, thought by some historians to be lions, from Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. Motivated by these exotic gifts, Henry III enhanced his menagerie, which soon included a polar bear that fished in the Thames and an African elephant. The Royal Zoo grew to house a variety of animals, including eagles, pumas, tigers, jackals, and numerous lions and leopards, which became the main attractions. Structures were specifically constructed within the tower to accommodate these creatures. However, by 1831, the remaining animals were relocated to the newly established London Zoo and Regent Park, marking the end of the tower's unique tenure as a zoo. Today, the Tower of London stands as one of the UK's most visited attractions, rich with centuries of royal and national history. Number 1. The Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower, undoubtedly one of the most iconic structures in the world, stands as the most visited paid landmark globally. Originally constructed as the centerpiece of the 1889 Universal Exposition in Paris to mark the centenary of the French Revolution, the tower holds stories and facts that many might not know. Contrary to popular belief, the tower was not designed by Gustave Eiffel himself, but by two engineers, Maurice Colchin and Émile Nouguier, who were employed by Eiffel's company. The design was initially developed outside of official company projects, and Eiffel showed little interest until he recognized its potential and decided to purchase the patent rights from the engineers. He then promoted the design under his company's name. Interestingly, there is a tale, albeit unconfirmed, that Eiffel first proposed the construction of the tower to the city of Barcelona, but the project was relocated to Paris after the proposal was rejected. Construction of the tower spanned from 1887 to 1889, reaching a height of 1,083 feet or 330 meters, equivalent to an 82-story building. Upon completion, it surpassed the Washington Monument as the tallest man-made structure in the world, a record it held for 41 years until the completion of the Chrysler Building in New York. Today, with a broadcast mast added, the Eiffel Tower stands taller than the Chrysler Building but has not reclaimed the title of the world's tallest. The tower was originally intended to be a temporary exhibit, but has become a long-lasting symbol of French ingenuity and a significant influence in the architectural trends of the world. It's inspired over 50 replicas worldwide, with notable examples including the Tokyo Tower, which slightly exceeds the original in height, and a half-scale version in Las Vegas. From a structure that Gustave Eiffel was initially hesitant to embrace, the Eiffel Tower has emerged as an enduring icon of global culture and architecture. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the ground. Thank you to our channel members.